Today I fucked up by waiting at the wrong gate during a layover. This happened yesterday and I'm still processing it. I, 26M, am from the US and had been planning a trip to South Korea for several months for an event that I've been waiting for since 2021 where it got cancelled due to the pandemic. I had been overseas before with my dad a handful of times before, but this was my first time doing so by myself. I booked everything through a travel agency that I had access to through work benefits since it saved a few $100s on tickets and got me there in a reasonable time without having either stupidly long or stupidly short layovers. It was about a 4-hour layover in JFK, which I felt was fairly reasonable to give me enough time to get to my gate and have a meal after navigating through an unfamiliar airport. Now, because I booked through this specific third-party agency, I didn't get much info about my flight. The gate wasn't printed on my boarding pass I got at the airport either, so I had to look for it on the monitors in the terminal. Terminal 1 in JFK, if any of you are familiar with that airport. I eventually find the info for a flight to Incheon but noticed the time was slightly different than what was on the boarding pass. I didn't think much of it because flights get delayed or slightly change all the time. It was about 45 minutes later than what was on my pass, so I didn't think much of it. I proceed to that gate with about 2 hours to spare after I had initially gotten lost in the airport trying to find the right terminal. Time passes and gets closer to the original departure time, and I start seeing the flight crew getting ready around when the flight was originally supposed to board. I started getting a weird feeling that something wasn't right since there were no announcements regarding my flight being delayed or anything. So I checked the monitor and realized exactly where I fucked up. This was a completely different flight, and the one I was supposed to be on was 2 minutes away from the departure time. I eventually find the right gate just to see the plane starting to back away from the gate. I freak out and explain my situation to the person at the gate, to which, obviously, there was nothing they could do. I have a fair bit of anxiety about stuff like this happening and started feeling myself spiraling. I removed myself from the situation to not lash out at someone that doesn't deserve it since they were just doing their job. A couple minutes later I get just enough composure to call the airline and travel agency I booked everything with to see if there was anything I could do. Since I was in the airport the whole time and there were announcements being made, I just couldn't hear them since I was in a different hallway from the gate I was supposed to be at. There wasn't anything they could do. I didn't get the travel insurance to try and save money, and the airline couldn't do anything to transfer the price of the ticket to the same flight the next day because I didn't book it through them. The only possible thing for me to do was purchase another ticket for the same flight the next day. Given that it's a last-minute booking for a nearly 16-hour flight, it was way more expensive than I could realistically afford, around $3,000, which was just out of the question for what I budgeted. I was devastated and started freaking out because I had no clue what else to do. I was in an unfamiliar place, having a panic attack and couldn't just leave the airport to go back home. I ended up sobbing in a corner for a while and smashing my headphones out of frustration of the situation I put myself in. 30 minutes on hold hearing. Please hold on. Your call is important to us, while having a panic attack certainly didn't help anything. So yeah. I'm back home now and have an appointment with my therapist to help process things and work on things to potentially help in the moment with these rare bad panic attacks. And #X200B. Too long did not read. I missed a flight after waiting in the airport for 4 hours on a layover and will miss an event I've been waiting to happen for years now. And #X200B. Edit to add a little extra clarification. I am aware that the boards in the terminal have flight numbers as well. It just didn't occur to me that there would be 2 flights with a similar departure time, to the same destination and from the same terminal for this type of flight. So when I saw the city I was going to but a slightly later time of departure, I incorrectly assumed it was the only flight happening and went directly to that gate. It's wild that none of your information was accessible beforehand or once you arrived at the airport. Even when using third-party booking services through my work, we can get the reservation information to use to check all the details even beforehand. Sorry this happened to you, but this story is giving me anxiety. All the things you could have done to prevent it and still missed the flight. You didn't check the flight board in the airport? Reading this gives me anxiety and I wasn't even there. I'm sorry your trip was a bust. Hopefully it never happens again. You're probably better off having missed it. South Korea is supposed to get hit with a wicked Cat 3 typhoon in like 8 hours. You'd have still been en route when it hit. Today I fucked up by not locking the door of my room. So to give a little context, I am 23. Live with my cousin F42 and her kids F8 and F12. The 12 yo is in the today I fucked up, so we'll call her Jasmine. I consume cannabis edibles every once in a while with my friends. So I do have some in my room. To not let the kids see the flashy candy jar, I keep it in my suitcase to the side of my bed with all the not kids stuff, drugs, sexual things and the likes. Just to be sure, I always lock my room when I am gone for more than going to the toilet. Thing is, I was having supper with my friends and we were supposed to stay at the house for the evening. But at one point one of my friends said let's go to the bar and we all agreed to go. The foo is that when we left I didn't lock my bedroom door. So we went on for the night and come back the next evening since we planned on hanging out the next day and drunk us thought it would be fun to have a pajama party. When I came back, my cousin was sleeping, but Jasmine was sitting on the couch watching TV with super low volume but insanely concentrated, which is really unusual since she has ADHD and doesn't really watch TV. So when I saw her, I asked her what was going on. And she said, and I quote, "I don't feel normal, I don't know, maybe weird." So I went to drop my stuff in my room and saw my jar opened on my bed. My heart stopped for a moment. I realized that Jasmine took some ultra-high dosage THC candies. So I dropped my stuff and asked her how much she took. She said 3 or 4. To give you a reference, I don't take that much, generally 2 is the max I take and I take those fairly regularly. So I was asking myself what to do. Do I woke my cousin? She laughed and said to trip sit her daughter to not make her feel bad and to let her sleep. So for the rest of the night I had to trip sit Jasmine and got my cousin laughing at my face every time she thinks of it. Too long did not read. My little cousin ate my THC edibles and I had to trip sit her for the night. All that because I didn't lock my door. Edit. Jasmine has been grounded. SRY forgot to tell. Edit 2. Although THC can't really be eliminated quickly through one's whole body, acidic-ish stuff tends to help. So while trip sighting her I gave her lemonade, which helps to not stay too high. As I said in multiple comments, I have 2 years of medical studies in research and knew it wouldn't be too bad. If anything went wrong, although it has only happened once or twice before because of THC, I was still ready to get her to the hospital and call 911, ICOE. Edit 3. To those wondering, I do not have pills or anything that could be really understandable for a child. Stuff on papers and vape juices filled with different drugs. I keep the vape with me 100% of the time with all the pods. I will get a decent looking box in the next few days and lock it. Edit 4. As this comment suggested, I will buy one from Amazon to have the same day shipping. Good luck grounding me mom when I can fly. Probably Jasmine. Jasmine sucks for thinking it's okay to snoop. She deserves consequences and your cousin owes you money. Come on man. You're so lucky she didn't react to the THC the way a lot of people I know do, by getting paranoid and panicky. Imagine a 12-yo freaking out high AF, unable to comprehend any of it. Mom asleep through it all. You said, drugs, not edibles. What else could she have gotten hold of? Get a lockbox. You live with 2 kids, designed by nature to be the snoopiest, most curious creatures on earth. Become more responsible, grow in character, become a benefit to those you love instead of a potential danger. This was a serious near miss. GIF. Giphy, AGQD7 Femalelifekirk. Well, hopefully Jasmine learned her lesson. Today I fucked up by buying a $200 bottle of wine. Like most TIFUs, this did not happen today, but I just found out about it. About a week ago, I received a job offer, pending my graduation next semester. I was very excited to receive this as it's exactly the position I was hoping for postgrad, and the pay is great. I saw the email with the offer while at my current job, and decided on the way home to stop at my trusty local liquor store to buy a bottle of wine to celebrate. I was perusing the shelves for something that looked decent, but in my special occasion wine budget of $20.30. My gaze found a wonderful-looking bottle of Brunello, but it was $70. Fuck it, I thought, I only get to celebrate my first big job offer once, and I grabbed a bottle off the rack below before I had a chance to second-guess myself. I head to the checkout and hand over the bottle and my ID. I should have realized I fucked up when he said, "Must be some really good wine." Instead, my conceited ass thought, maybe he remembers me and knows this is not my typical purchase, and told him I've only had Brunello once before at a nice Italian restaurant, but it was my favorite wine I have ever had, and I am celebrating a job offer. On the drive home, I couldn't stop thinking about how excited I was to try the wine, but ended up deciding that I would save the bottle until graduation to be able to enjoy it with friends and a nice meal pairing. Flash forward to tonight. I was scrolling through my charges in my bank account and I saw a charge for $192.15 from the liquor store dated last week. Immediately in a panic thinking I was scammed, I run to where I stored the bottle of wine and look at the label and my fuck-up glares back up at me. The bottle I grabbed was not the bottle on display, but rather a 2016 with the same label. I get on Google, not wanting to believe I had fucked up still, and find the same bottle for similar prices online. I almost wish I had drank it already because now that I know how much it was I probably won't enjoy it the same. Too long did not read. I thought I was buying a celebratory $70 bottle of wine but didn't read the label close enough and realized it was almost $200 when I checked my bank account a week later. Edit. Because people keep commenting, I definitely could have seen the price had I looked over at the register to the side, but I thought I knew what I was getting so I didn't, thus the fuck up. Won't be making that mistake again. Don't store it by a window or in a hot area. Do open it up and decant it for an hour before drinking. Think about the food you pair with it. Play some music. Have fun, make it a memorable experience. Well, now you have a $200 bottle of wine to enjoy. A $130 is not a big deal in the long term, especially if you have a decent job. I mean, they give you a receipt, but before that, isn't there a little screen that tells you what items are ringing up for? Have some friends over and enjoy a nice bottle of wine. It's okay to enjoy the finer things in life every once in a while. After all, that's what life is really for anyways. Less of a fuck up and more of a bigger celebration than you expected. Congrats and cheers, clinking glasses. Don't they legally have to tell you the total before you pay?